Hello ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to today's webinar brought to you by Shared Services Link and sponsored by Basware. Today we're going to be looking at something that is really very key to shared services directors and shared services managers and heads of purchase to pay, which is how to realise a 76% cost saving in shared services whilst improving your service KPIs. And I'm very pleased today that we are looking at the Chep story. So my guest speakers are joining me today. My name is Susie West and I'm the founder and CEO at Shared Services Link, and my guest speakers are David Kraus, who's the Business Development Manager at Basware, and Javier Fernandez Fabregas, who is the Senior Manager of Procure to Pay at Chep for EMEA and Asia Pacific. So of course you've got your role to play, which is to make sure that you put your questions my way, and please note that the sooner you get me the questions, the more likely they are to be asked. So make sure that you get me your questions nice and early. So I will put those to our guest speakers in the last 10 minutes of this webinar. Right, let's have a look at the context for today's discussion. The economic imperative continues as far as shared services is concerned. Though I think the market is generally aware that there's a focus on cost reduction, but not at the cost of service improvement. So it's really balancing those two focus areas. It's balancing the economic imperative to continue to drive down costs, and then the service excellence and the expectation of service excellence from the shared services organisation to continue to drive up service KPIs. So there's a huge pressure for that balance to be struck. So I'm very pleased that we're addressing this topic today. So I'd like to introduce my first speaker, please. Over to you, David.
Thank you, Susie. Good afternoon, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. My name is David Kraus, and I'm one of the Business Development Managers at Basware UK, responsible for many customers in several vertical industry sectors. And one of my customers is Chep, who we will be hearing from shortly. As part of my role, I work very closely with my customers to understand the business issues they're facing and how Basware can transform the way finance and procurement work to help drive significant improvements and benefits to the current processes. Before I introduce you to the main speaker, I would like to take this opportunity in just a few moments of your time to introduce Basware and how we can help realize significant savings in companies like yours and improve on existing key performance indicators. As you can see from the short agenda here, I would like to look at the goal and business objectives. What can we expect from deploying a solution like Basware? Then what the problem looks like, what are we solving for companies like yours, what solution is available, a bit about Basware. We'll then move on to the Chep story, and then we'll look to summarize. So, what do our solutions do? Well, we drive financial performance forward, and here you can see examples of the type of organizations we work with and some of the things we've achieved with our customers. Highlighting a few of these, Heineken automated the receiving of their 430,000 purchase invoices while seamlessly integrating with 5 separate ERP instances. They also gained automatic matching of 97% of their invoices without any manual intervention and have been able to achieve ongoing savings through process improvements. Loomis Sales pay over 85% of their suppliers within 7 to 10 days to capture early settlement discounts. Toshiba utilize Basware's electronic invoicing, sending services, and have reduced their invoicing costs by approximately 75%. We have Ritter Sports, and they've deployed our procurement solutions to gain better control and visibility across their spend, and as a consequence have reduced third-party spend by 10%. Sonic, one of America's largest drive-in restaurants, receive almost all of their invoices electronically after driving an aggressive supplier activation campaign with Basware. One of the clear benefits now are improved supplier relationships and reduced downtime in dealing with supplier queries regarding their invoices, which allow their AP team to focus on other value-added tasks. And finally, whilst not featured on this slide, ADT Tyco, they needed to boost productivity within accounts payable and increase visibility across their multiple ERP systems. They used Basware to consolidate their processing locations into a single shared service center. Through this, they've reduced their invoice cycle times by 75% and gained overall savings of 400,000 euros in their first year alone. They're now undertaking further rollouts and bringing in additional integrations with SAP and BARN, and again, easily hooking into other ERPs whilst Basware provides the core functionality. Like it or not, large and small businesses are becoming more complex. This is a function of growth, business growth, globalizing marketplaces, and network-enabled businesses using the internet. There was a dichotomy between large and small businesses, with small businesses primarily focused on cash flow, profitability, and then revenue growth. They'll typically have less resources focused on accounts payable, but their processes, controls, and reporting requirements needed are not to be as complex. Whereas large multinational corporations are grappling with the complexities of tax, language, compliance, and global document handling. If you factor in the old change management adage of people, process, and technology, this all compounds. People can create infinite forms of complexity, for example, where they work or even their general understanding of situations. Processes, they may vary by supplier, category of spend, line of business, etc. Whether you are a small organization looking to better forecast cash and do more with the same amount of resources, or a large multinational company looking to introduce cost savings, the bottom line is paper and document handling creates challenges which require simplification. Complexity creates challenges. Broadly speaking, these complexities can be grouped into 4 improvement areas. Area 1, control and compliance. This is a must-have and a precursor to other improvement areas. A good example of this is centralizing the invoice receipt process or enforcing a purchase requisition process to gain control over the P2P lifecycle. This enables you to set policies and service level agreements across the end-to-end process. This then brings us into the area 2, which is visibility and insight, which affords the ability to manage service levels both internally and with the business. Visibility can help reduce maverick spend or prompt payment processing. Visibility is created through the control and compliance elements. These two are what create sustainability, efficiency, and savings. Automating poor processes, procedures, errors, rework, and generally foster poor performance. Throwing tech at poor processes is no good unless you tackle the control and compliance and visibility elements first. When we look at area 3, which is the efficiency and savings, areas 1 and 2 are inherently create some savings, but more importantly what they offer is your team the ability to lean and automate processes such as PO, contract, auto-matching, auto-routing, and supplier self-service. Area 4 is promoting the use of e-procurement technology through making solutions easy to use and getting content properly under procurement management to support organizations' procurement policies. This has the potential to open up a 5th area for organizations to look at, such as reducing opportunity cost of management time, supplier relationship improvements, or turning cost center functions into profit center functions through the use of early payment rebates and dynamic discounting. With this thought in mind, I would like to ask Susie to poll the first question to the audience. Susie?
Okay, great, thank you very much. David, so coming up on your screen now is the first and only poll of this webinar. Does your organisation currently utilise a purchase-to-pay network to send and receive electronic orders and electronic invoices with suppliers? So if you can tick one of the boxes that applies to you, please. So no, you don't do any of that today. Yes, but on a partial basis for a small percentage of spend and or transactions. Yes, you do today, but for a significant, on a significant basis, but only with certain regions and spend categories. Or yes, you use a platform like this P2P network for all your purchase-to-pay transactions in and out of the company. So only 63% of you have responded, so if you haven't already responded, please do so. We do like to get this, the poll results past 70%, if at all possible. We're at 68% of you. So closing the poll in 3, 2, 1. Let's have a look at the results there. So thank you very much. We closed on 74%. So just shy of half of you don't have anything like this in place at all across the business. 14% of you use a network on a partial basis, and 43% of you use a network, a P2P network, on a more significant, on a larger scale. Back to you, please, David.
Thanks, Susie. Okay, so just looking at the solution overview here, I'd like to refer to one of the independent analysts' magic quadrants. And over the years, Basware has always been ranked as #1 or #2 in the purchase-to-pay space. And this is just an example of the Forrester quadrant wave. Looking in a little more detail about what we deliver, well, Basware provides solutions across the full purchase-to-pay cycle through procurement, invoice automation, and electronic invoicing. From a sourcing and procurement perspective, we work to create visibility through spend reporting and metrics across PO and non-PO based spend in critical performance dashboards. Improve supplier relationships, efficiency, and content management through our supplier network tools. Ensure compliance through the easy use and integration tools that allow people in all roles across the entire organization to buy in to a compliant and effective way of working. From an AP automation perspective, we look to remove paper from the process and enable automated matching and exception workflow, offering greater efficiency and compliance and visibility through the process. Overarching the purchase-to-pay process, our analytics solution provides the role-based reporting, providing financial data that empowers people throughout your business to make better financial decisions. Our commerce network connects buyers and sellers for the transfer of e-invoices, electronic orders, and we enable companies to take advantage of e-invoicing by offering a variety of flexible services which appeal to all organizations, whether they are sending and receiving high invoice volumes or smaller numbers. We can maximize their ability to send electronic invoices by providing an open network which allows them to reach the maximum number of partners as possible. One of our main differentiators here at Basware is the NERP adapter. This adapter allows us to accelerate the integration between the Basware solution layer and your ERP systems, which could be a single ERP or indeed many ERPs. This slide should give you a better understanding and visual of how this solution works. Looking at the purchase-to-pay process here, procurement to invoice automation, we can see that any ERP layer sits across multiple ERPs, transferring master data and information on suppliers, coding rules, approval authorities, and payments. Our application, Basware NERP, acts as a hub between different Basware applications across P2P and an organization's application landscape. This enables systems to be safely added or replaced, which ensures flexibility and better capitalization of existing investments. We can see here a list of some 225 ERPs we have integrated with using the solution. This information is available on our website should you be interested in further information. So, how does Basware enable stronger B2B commerce? Well, one of the main advantages here is the Basware Commerce Network. This is the world's largest open business-to-business network, and is the connectivity between our customers and their suppliers. With more than 2,000 customers and potentially 1.9 million suppliers, the network is growing on a daily basis. There are currently 850,000 active buyers utilizing this network with an approximate $250 billion spend. The additional value provided here is that maturity of this network allows us to take many of our typical pain points away from the transactions as we address VAT compliance in more than 50 countries, supporting over 50 formats. And we work with 160 interoperability partners, allowing you to leverage your existing investment made in other technologies and still benefit from this network. So finally, the way we can define why companies choose Basware is put into 4 main categories, and they're underpinned by simplicity and a lower total cost of ownership. Visibility is key here to all stakeholders in the process, and by improving this allows for better reporting, accurate cash forecasting and working capital management. Control, more control of the business processes allows for more spend management, cash flow accuracy and accelerated closing periods. Compliance, with tighter and more stringent regulations today, it is all the more important to have a solution that allows you to manage federated accountability, support straight-through processing and deliver contract compliance. Providing agility in your P2P process can enable supplier discount capture, improve cash flow and working capital. Rapid on and offboarding facilities will benefit you from taking advantage of best-of-breed suppliers. These are just some of the reasons why companies choose Basware. So, okay, why did Chep select Basware? Well, the problem most finance organizations face is how to reduce costs quickly whilst making their internal customers happier. Global leader in pallets, Chep moved from a decentralized to a finance shared service center in super fast time, within 6 months. And in that time, went from 50 full-time equivalents to 12. The transition was smooth whilst positively impacting the user's experience. Chep have benefited from improved collaboration in AP and procurement, supplier relationships, and improved the payments and inquiry management. Well, without taking the limelight here, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce you to Javier Fabregas, who will tell you more about the program and the initiative. Javier, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. So, Dave was saying, I'm going to go through the journey that we have gone so far within Chep. Even though we are presenting as Chep International, I'm going to be focusing on the journey that we did. Started as Chep Europe. So I will be introducing a little bit on who we are, and I will be moving on what we did identify as the challenges and the objectives, what we have accomplished so far, then obviously some of the benefits that we have taken out of those objectives accomplished and cost reductions, and then I will be introducing on what are we looking for to focus in the future. So just a little bit on Chep, as David was saying. So we are the larger provider of the pooling system across the world. Chep actually belongs to another company, to Brambles, and within the Chep, within the Brambles company, there's quite a few other companies that provide pooling system solution as well. You can see that we work, over 50 countries, 7,000 employees, etc. But then, and we're focusing, as I said, in the pooling system. So one of the things that we wanted to, that 10 years ago we wanted to check was on the challenges and the objectives of what was the future to follow. And so what we saw on the challenges, we saw that, across Europe we were based in 19 countries, and we have obviously a decentralized accounts payable organization. And we saw the need of that we needed to move to a shared service center. We took the decision on that, and then obviously we start leveraging. What would be the best solution for us? So we were using an SAP solution. So we were checking on what would be the best solution for us in moving to in a centralized system. Obviously, we wanted to do that, but we needed to retain the supplier relationships and obviously keeping giving support to all our suppliers across Europe on all their languages. And from there, we needed to be able to start handling the PO-based and non-PO-based payments, and critical for all the local offices, as you all may know, is all the VAT and all the policies on each country. So some of the considerations that we went over, at the time that this decision was taken, like 10 years ago. So we went for a benchmark process, and we started looking for solutions in the wall of the technology, because that was actually our aim. So we were looking for a solution, obviously, that could offer us control and compliance, and mainly visibility, as it was going to be a a tool to be used by all the countries, but then losing their control because they were going to be a centralized organization. That was the key objective for that time, the project that we were looking. Obviously, we were looking for a web-based solution that could support us with all our business relationships and regardless the locations. We were looking obviously as a rapid deploy integration with our SAP department. You know, all the centralization of shared service centers, if you don't do it quickly, it's going to end up in a never proper centralization. So we were looking for a quick solution, a quick interface within SAP. And obviously we wanted to remove the non-core and the non-value-add functions from our processes and then focus on what was going to be the future and what was going to be our go-ahead. So from there, we took the decision to move into with Basware. So since that, what we have accomplished by creating the shared service center. So 10 years ago, we did create the shared service center supporting 19 countries. Now, after all those 10 years, Chep has kept growing within the Chep Europe, and now we're supporting 29. We moved with the Basware solution for this on the scanning as well. So we removed all the paper circulation. Not only the paper circulation, but we centralized the scanning solution as well. We created the availability of electronically routes, so everybody across Europe would just log into their system. They were able to approve, to forward the POs, to control their costs, and etc. So that was obviously an improvement from what we had before, because even though before they were able to have a control of their costs, they were not able to have any electronic tool to properly report on and control the cost. We managed to get the automated invoice entry into SAP by the three-way matching. Obviously, that reduced a lot on the manual keying and reduced into a 90% actually on the errors on the manual keying. Thanks to the new system, we improved our relation with the vendors. Now since we are using a workflow solution, since we're using Basware, we're now able to provide our vendors with reports on their costs, with reports on what is missing from their payments, and on instant communication with them via Basware reporting and statements against their queries, basically. And as thanks to having a centralized solution, having a workflow, and having Basware, we were able to now properly set up all our KPIs within the AP department. And not only that, but since then we have been introducing new KPIs thanks to the new functionalities that we've been gathering with the Basware solution, as we were saying. So where we did focus, when we did centralize this 10 years ago, we were even a little bit more of 26. So we took all the FTEs that we had in all the different countries across Europe. So we centralized all of them in Madrid. Straight away, we launched the Basware system, and through the years, we have been implementing new Basware functionalities. So main thing, just you see on this slide, so how we managed to reduce all the FTE costs in there, and without losing, obviously, any of the KPIs. Actually, not only that, but actually improving our efficiencies and our KPIs with our vendors. We did centralize the scanning. The biggest part that actually provided us the automation was the automation tool from Basware, and then from there we worked together and we developed the automated invoice redirection to the purchasers. Then together with the templates and the contract matching, we managed to reduce another 2 or 3 FTEs, and then obviously on the reporting capabilities. Nowadays that we're working even more and focusing on that, we could say that the reduction is bigger than what you're seeing in there. But we managed to finish a year ago with 13 FTEs plus myself that I was actually handling 2 departments at that time. So where are we heading now? I've been talking about the Chep Europe history. Journey. What we have done as well in the last year is, together with Brambles, we have a partnership with a BPO, and we have externalized our services. So now Basware is not only a tool that is used by Chep Europe, but it's used by all the Chep regions, and it's used by all the other Brambles entities, integrated with this BPO. As you could imagine, the benefits on this slide and on the previous slide that we were talking now have increased, dramatically, because now we're talking about a whole decentralized process across all the other countries, Chep Australia, Chep Asia Pacific, Chep US, etc. So now we have everything centralized with Basware. We have the centralized scanning, we have the centralized workflow, and we have obviously the centralized reporting and monitoring. So now that we have done that, now we are able obviously to focus on focusing on the result of the core value-added activities. And now, as I said, thanks to Basware and this full centralization globally, now we're taking to take this advantage of launch global policies, global processes across the countries. One of the biggest thing, and one of the things that we did focus in Chep for all those years, and that's why we chose Basware, was focus on our technology assets. So we keep investing with Basware. We keep working together with Basware on what solution they keep providing and they can offer to us to keep improving our processes and our KPIs. And one of the things, actually, just that's a little comment, what we realized a few years ago is like having a shared service center. I think we made the mistake at the beginning of creating the shared service centers here in Madrid, but giving support to the countries and by country. Then we have been in constant communication with Basware. They came up with a solution, say like, why are you focusing by country and not focusing by process? So that was our biggest change. And now we were able to support all our countries' processes. So we did standardize all the processes across all the regions. And now whoever is performing a process for Spain is able to perform the same process for Australia or Mexico or whatever it is. So keep focusing on the next part of the journey that we want to keep rolling out. We're still not using the e-procurement, but we want to actually go ahead with that, and the whole idea we're going to go through a tender, and then knowing that Basware provides the services, there will be conversations on that in the future. One of the main things really, we want to leverage our skilled resources and the organizational structure to technology to keep talking about what we have been saying. So optimize our supplier mix and registration process and increase the efficiency while reducing the risk. We need to leverage our global scale. As I was saying, now everything is global, and keep standardized and our specifications to gain greatest benefit of our scale. As I was keep saying before, we need to make process for everyone to be the same, and having a centralized workflow and a centralized work tool like Basware does give us the opportunity to do it. And then obviously to keep driving innovation and relationship through the closed loop of source to pay and process deeper buyer supply integration. So what we want to, in the next step, what we really want to do is, now we have all the payables centralized, now we have all the payables process, invoice processing centralized. Now we want to make sure that our suppliers are part of this process by this e-procurement tool. So as far as I know, this will be from my side. David, I'll hand it over to you now.
Thank you, Javier. Okay, so let's just have a look at the Basware business and the background to the Basware organization. Just wanted to really tell you a little bit more about the fact that Basware was founded over 25 years ago in 1985 and was first to market with invoice workflow technologies in the late 1990s. Since this time, Basware has consistently been ranked #1 or #2 by the independent analysts such as Forrester and Gartner in the purchase to pay and supplier network space, and obviously this is something that we're particularly proud of. We have over 1,400 employees covering some 30+ countries and users in greater than 95 countries, in fact. But last year, in 2012, our sales was over 110 million euros. I think one thing that's particularly important to point out is that year on year we put somewhere in the order of 16 to 18% of our sales directly back into research and development to continue to build our products and services for our customers, just ensuring that we continue to drive the industry-leading value for our customers. And as mentioned before, we have in excess of 2,100 customers now worldwide. Our supplier network is focused also on driving significantly more value out of our purchase-to-pay platforms, or indeed whatever purchase-to-pay platform you're currently using. Through the addition of efficiency and improved supplier collaboration, we can take a look at the Basware commerce network in a bit more detail following this session. Indeed, we do have some documentation on our website. Just wanted to highlight some of the Basware customers. As mentioned, we've got somewhere in the region of 2,200 customers in all market sectors, and our technology can really be leveraged by small, medium businesses through to enterprise companies. And this slide here really sort of shows you a number of the customers that we work with. Again, there are many case studies available for you to download from the website, so please, following this webinar, feel free to visit the site to download further information. Okay, so just to summarize the presentation that Javier's given, thank you, Javier. I think to benefit and achieve these levels of cost reductions, an accurate and well understood process needs to be managed and controlled through a shared service center, and this will really provide the foundation and the ability to improve your collaboration in your accounts payable and procurement functions. It also will help you improve the supplier relationships that you have. Obviously, improving payments and supporting inquiries and inbound inquiries more effectively will improve that relationship. Obviously, with the any ERP solution, the data and integration with your ERP system that Basware can provide will also give you that seamless communication. Once these core improvements are recognized, other focus areas, of course, can be looked at for additional value adds like electronic invoicing and the ability to route, track and report on invoices across the business. And if that business is in one country, that's fine. If it's across the globe, then again, that can be supported. And obviously, with overall stronger service and a more effective sourcing strategy, you can start to aim and strive for these cost reduction savings. Okay, so with respect to the Basware resources, should you have any further questions or inquiries, then do please feel free to contact me by email. My email address is here on this slide, or indeed you can look to the resource center, which is at www.basware.com/knowledge-center, and here you'll have access to customer case studies, white papers, case studies, and how-to user guides. So please do take advantage of that, and feel free to visit that website when you need to. Okay, so that's it from my side. Susie?
Thank you very much, David. So do post your questions through, and we do have quite a few questions to go through, so we've got about 10 minutes or so for questions. Let's kick off. Question for you, Javier. Do you have people assigned to troubleshooting invoices that cannot be matched or approved for payment?
Could you repeat that again? Sorry about that.
Sure. do you have people assigned to do troubleshooting on invoices that cannot be matched or approved for payment?
Well, so the process that we have, I mean, with the automating, the three-way automating that we have with Basware, so invoice that is received with a PO and totally matches directly posted into SAP, and then obviously it is approved for payment because the PO has been pre-approved. On all those ones that are not matching, because maybe the GR has not been done by the business or whatever, if there's a price mismatch, with Basware, we have obviously the AP team forwarding those invoices to the purchasers. So we have as well the automation routing. So if the PO is mentioned on the invoice and is not matching, it's automatically sent to the purchaser who manage and solve the whatever is need to be done with that PO. And then if not, the AP user, yes, will be sending that invoice to the appropriate person.
Okay.
But being a PO process, the PO is being pre-approved, so it's pre-approved for payment already.
It is, right. Okay. From the FTE change chart, this is for Javier, how many people were left on or left within the different countries to support the shared services center operation?
None. Regarding accounts payable, none.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was based on the shared service center once we centralized, and then through the transition.
So there's no local finance from a accounts payable perspective.
No, I mean there was a local finance, but doing local finance stuff.
Yeah,
not payable.
Not accounts payable. Lots of questions on your KPIs, please, Javier. So we'll just focus on that for a moment. Are your KPIs that you use to look at accounts payable, are they leading or lagging indicators?
I mean, nowadays they're quite leading. I mean, we have been able to improve all those through the years. And the good thing that we keep doing, and thanks to the automations and the improvement in process, we keep improving through the years.
You do. Okay. And can you give us an example of what your chief KPIs are?
Well, I always like to talk on the defects one. So one of the ones that we were lacking at the beginning before the centralization, and after the first centralization, I mean, till we have automated process and with Basware, it was, well, duplicate payments or late payments. We have reduced that to a minimum or zero now, thanks to some developments within the workflow. Some other KPIs on paid on time. Mm-hmm. Paid on time figures for Chep Europe, it is quite, I mean, we have quite a good rate. I mean, all what is not paid on time, thanks to the KPI solution, I mean, well, the reporting that we have from Basware, it is easy to identify that whatever we're paying late, we pay late because vendors are sending us the invoices late. Mm-hmm. So okay, for us, those are the ones paid on time and no late or duplicate payments.
Okay, and what about your productivity KPIs? What kind of productivity levels are you looking at?
Well, I mean, as you saw on the slide, I mean, thanks to the automation, we were reducing FTEs.
Yeah.
Now, during the last year, we have done the outsource to the BPO, and we have kept the same productivity ratio. So now we have structured the team a little bit different, but in terms of invoice processing, and when I'm talking about invoice processing, it doesn't mean that the invoice gets posted. Yeah. But that accounts payable user has touched an invoice. We're looking about 70 to 80 invoices per day. It's quite easy with the workflow just to open the invoice, find out the solution, and manually send it to whoever needs to treat it. And obviously only talking about this manual treatment. We have now, thanks to the automation, we have 30% of our invoices not manually touched at all, so posted into SAP. Out of the rest, 45% are automatically triggered to the purchaser as well. So all those are the reduction that you have seen through the years on the productivity.
Okay. So 30% of your invoices are touchless because they're not being touched at all. Is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you put that into account. I mean, on that 70%, you add as well the contract matching tool that we have with and the electronic invoicing we have with Basware as well.
Mm-hmm. Does the software, so maybe this is more for David, please, does the software allow BPMS type process design / or stroke redesign for continuous improvement or changes?
Well, I can actually answer that if you want, because we have done that with Basware together. I mean, that's one of the good relations that we have with Basware. We have been developing the software to our needs together with them to improve processes and productivity.
Can you give us an example?
Well, for example, the auto routing of invoices to the purchasers. We did. I mean, we went ahead with the auto matching tool from that Basware we're actually providing. Obviously, we did customize that to ourselves, but then after a year, we realized that we could use that auto matching tool to reroute those invoices to the purchaser. So we developed that ourselves together with Basware.
Javier, you mentioned some new KPIs on an earlier slide that because you're going through this process, you've I think implemented a new set of KPIs. What would those what would that new set look like?
Well, on the new, the new things that we're now monitoring. I mean, now we can focus on see who. I mean, where are we lacking? I mean, why are not we paying on time? So what I was saying before. I mean, now we're able to go to our vendors and say, okay, we're not paying you on time because you don't send us the invoices on time. So main KPIs now are focusing on the vendors, on our suppliers. So now we can tell them and take actions with them to make sure that we provide the payment as soon as the IC is needed as per the payment terms, but providing them their feedback on what is happening. So we have this KPI for the vendors not sending invoices on time. We have the KPI of purchasers not performing their task on time or approving invoices. So all those internal productivity KPIs that now we are able to measure focus on the process now.
And who has visibility of that? Is that just the shared services group? Is it senior management has visibility of that?
Well, I don't know if you know, but with Basware you have 3 modules mainly. I mean, you have quite a few more, but mainly you have the AP module that obviously that's only to be given to the accounts payable team. But then you have the monitor module that is provides you availability to do the reporting. So for that we have 150 licenses across the world now. And this is given to finance manager, to procurement, etc. So they have the possibility and the availability to perform their own reporting, and obviously on top of that, shared service centers provide monthly reports from Basware. But they can do themselves as well.
Javier, you talked about how this has enabled you to free up resource and focus on more value-adding activities. Can you provide a couple of examples, please?
Well, added activities definitely improving the KPIs, so focusing on what is actually hurting our business. As I was saying before, now we can improve our vendor-supplier relationship because now we have time to, and we have the data to go to them and say, okay, let's start working together on this KPI or this measurement that is affecting yours payment. Obviously, I mean, this free of workload has leave us the opportunity to provide the business all the reporting that we didn't have at before. We didn't have time to perform any reporting because we were all focusing on processing invoices. Now with all the automation, and bear in mind obviously the FTE reduction, what has been left is that excellence of the reporting that now we're providing to the business and making sure that there is no mistake on what we do. So now we have proper enough time to do an audit on our invoice processing, for example. We do that now with Basware.
And Javier, who led this project? Did you lead it? Did one of your team lead it? And if so, what was the kind of job description of the person that led it?
Okay, so well, the shared service center centralization that happened before I joined Chep. And then we went ahead with Basware with the solution, and then I joined it in Chep 5 years ago, and then that's when we decided to go ahead with all the 3-way automation, the centralized scanning, and some other projects together with Basware, and I did lead all that process, and I have led as well the global centralization of all of that. So I manage Europe, but then I have done the centralization to the BPO and the Basware implementation in all our Chep units across the world. And I was an AP background all my life. So.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And how tightly did you have to work with procurement in order for this to be successful?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
How closely did you have to work with procurement in order for this to be successful?
Yeah. Quite a lot. I mean, you have to agree with a lot of things up front. I mean, to implement the software, you don't, I mean, you centralize and you provide obviously the benefits straight away just by having the tool. But after that, that's where you actually have the power, and I mean, you have the data to go to procurement and show them that where do we need to focus on, who are the, what I call the top offenders of the purchases, not creating purchase orders on time or vendors not providing invoices on time. So now, after the implementation, now we are really working closely with them because now we have the data and the reporting to provide that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and just a couple more questions, Javier. As far as service KPIs improving as a result of putting in the Basware solution, that would suggest that you're actually getting positive feedback from your customers. What is the feedback from your customers like?
From our vendors.
Your internal customers.
The internal customers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I mean, I can actually provide even actually better feedback, not from Europe because I was not in the initial implementation, but now that we've implemented to the rest of the world, what I always say, I mean, if people don't talk about accounts payable, that means that accounts payable is working fine because it's an easy part of the business that when it actually works bad, everything is because of the accounts payable. The better feedback that we're having now from our CFOs across the regions and etc. is that there is no noise. So people are working fine. Obviously, they are loving the fact that they can. I mean, there is no more paper involved, and they can control their costs and etc. But for me, the main feedback is that nobody complains.
Yeah. Okay. If you do have any more questions, please do post them through. Otherwise, we'll be wrapping up with this final question. You talked about having global processes. So is that one single process globally that is kind of considered good, and anything else is an exception which needs to kind of decrease in number over time?
Yeah, that's the whole idea. I mean, we have set up processes within the Basware. So as I said, we don't support now anymore by country. We have whatever invoice processing of a PO. A PO invoice should be the same in India than in the US than in Spain. So that's the whole idea. And whatever is outside the standard, obviously we have all those standards documented and process documented. That's where we focus on as well to try to reduce those as much as possible. Obviously there's some VAT or policy legislation in some countries that you cannot remove it, but we try to standardize as much as we can.
Mm-hmm. Good. All right. Thank you very much indeed, Javier, and thank you to David Craggs as well from Basware. That was very informative. If you would like more information from David, you see his email address on the screen now. And just to remind you, before Christmas we have one more webinar, so please do join us for that on the 12th of December. And then we'll be back with a Basware case study with the cooperative organisation talking about how they're handling and managing and automating over 1.7 million paper invoices each year, so what they're doing with that. Also, please make a note, we have a couple of events which are proving to be very popular, so they are very much on their way to being sold out, so please do register for one of them or two of them if you would like to be there. The Global Process Owner event, one-day event taking place in February in London, and our European Summit for Leaders in Shared Services and Outsourcing taking place in London in March. Many thanks indeed for your time, ladies and gentlemen, today, and we look forward to welcoming you next time.